Hello everyone, my name is Abby and I'm the Young Adult Assistant at the Twin Lakes Library System and I use she, her pronouns. So for today, for our Slice of Life episode, I'm going to be talking about the top 10 things I think you should know for college. So some of our older teenagers will be starting to apply to college this fall, and I just want to give you a little list of things that I was told before I went into college, and things that as I've been in college, that I've learned and established as things that people should know or think people should know. I'm in my final semester, so this is all of the knowledge I have accrued over time. So, the first thing that I think everyone should know first off is you are not stuck with the first major that you picked. So, originally, when I came into college, I was a pre nursing major. Now, anyone who knows me will tell you I don't like science, and I am not good at it either. So I picked that because I was told that that would be a good field, that I would, have a lot of career prospects. And it's not a bad field. Nursing is a great field. It's very admirable, especially during everything that we're going through right now. Personally, it just wasn't a career for me. It wasn't the major for me. So I changed what I was going to do, and I changed it to English, which I'm much more excited about. I'm much better at it. And it's fun, but don't come into college thinking you're stuck with the first thing you choose. If you come in and you're a biology major and you decide, I don't really want to do biology anymore, I'm interested in being a marketing major, or I want to be a sociology major or a criminal justice major, that's totally fine. A lot of people end up changing their major. I think the average amount of time people change their major is 3 times. Don't change it if you don't feel like you want to, or if you come in and the first thing you pick is what works best for you, that's great. But if you do end up changing it, it's not the end of the world and you're not doomed forever. So that's the first one. The second thing you should know is you need to set really good boundaries with your roommates and your dorm mates. So for the college I attend, Georgia College, when you first go into a dorm, a lot of colleges do have a mandatory 1 year you have to stay on campus, but if you don't and you just live at home, this doesn't necessarily apply to you, but a lot of colleges have a requirement where you have to live on campus for the first year at least, and so I had to do that, and I had a dorm mate and I had suite mates, and we had to meet with our CA, or our community advisor, or a residential advisor. Colleges call it a variety of different things, and come up with like a roommate contract and a suite mate contract, and you had to set rules and things that you were all comfortable with, so like no dishes left out, and please don't have friends over after 10 p.m. because I go to sleep at that time. So you have to set good boundaries and you have to be firm about them, even if you don't want to. I am not the most confrontational person either, but you have to be firm about them because you're going to be living there for a substantial amount of time. That's your living space, and you want to make sure that you are comfortable and that they are comfortable, and you communicate effectively with each other, and there isn't a lot of animosity and pent up problems inside. So definitely set good boundaries with your roommate. The third thing I think that everyone should do is email/talk to your professors. So your professors are real people. They have, things they like, things they don't like, interests, hobbies. They are people, and I feel like sometimes when you're in high school or elementary school or middle school, there's a barrier between you and your teacher. But when you're in college, you're spending a lot of time, and they're a lot more lax than high school. In terms of schoolwork, it's a little harder, but I feel like it's really easy to build good relationships with your professors, even if you're in just a big lecture class. You should still email and try to communicate with your professors just so they know who you are. And if you ever find one day you're sick and you can't come to class, you can email them, and they know you as a student. They know you care. They're not going to be upset with you and mad at you. My environmental science professor, I was in a big lecture class, and I emailed her a lot outside of class. I didn't really talk in class, but I did email her a lot outside of class. And so one day I was sick, and I was like, I can't come to class. She's like, it's okay. I know that you're a good student. I'm not worried about it. And it's good to build that kind of relationship with your professors, and it can really help you in the long run too. I am really close with all of the professors in my particular concentration in my department. They all know who I am. I talk to them a lot. And, it gets me a lot of good conversation, but also gives me a lot of opportunities. So, for instance, there was a class I wanted to take my second semester sophomore year, and it was completely full. But I knew the professor, and I emailed him, and I had a class with him, and I said, I would really like to be in this class. I think I would do a good job in this class, and I think I would really be a good student to have. And he put me in the class. And that's up to them. They get to decide if that happens. So it can really help you, but it's also just good to establish in a relationship. So it's like you see them as a person, and like it's not as scary as you think it is. So the fourth option or thing that you should know about college is you need to make a schedule that works for you. So when I say that, so for us personally at my college, the first semester our advisor picks our schedule. So my schedule was I had Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This is my freshman year first semester schedule, so I apologize if I don't get this completely right. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 9:50 I had a psych class. And then Monday, Wednesday afternoon from 2 to 3:15 I had a sociology class. And then Tuesday I had math class from 9 to like 10:45, and then Tuesday, Thursday had an English class from 12:30 to 1:45, and then on Fridays from 10 to 10:50 I had a freshman seminar class, and I think that was it. As I was in college, that first semester, I sort of realized what I liked and what I didn't like. So what I figured out is I really like morning classes and I don't like afternoon classes. So I made it my goal kind of whenever I was making my own schedule the next couple of semesters to make sure if I could take a class in the morning that would fill the requirements for my degree, then that's what I would take. I didn't want super early classes. I didn't want an 8 a.m. and I've avoided ever having an 8 a.m. If you can do an 8 a.m., that's amazing. Good for you, but I personally can't. But like 9 to like by 1:30 I wanted to be done with my school day. For a variety of different reasons. One of them being I work in the afternoon. One of them is I just don't focus as well in the afternoon, and I prefer to do things in the morning when I feel like I'm actually more awake and more of a morning person. So that works for me. That doesn't work for everyone. Some people have afternoon classes are what's better. They sleep in and they go to class in the afternoon and it works great for them. You have to decide to like what schedule you think you're going to be most effective as a student as. It's very important. Don't take classes that you're not going to wake up for. Don't take an 8 a.m. if you're not going to wake up for it. It's not worth it. Don't take a 3:30 class if you don't think you're going to ever show up because you don't want to because you're tired at the end of the day. Like, I had some struggles my sophomore year when I had some afternoon classes that I had to take these classes. I didn't choose for them to be the afternoon. They just happened to be scheduled then. I had a hard time going to class all the time. So that's important to like remember. And don't like feel bad if you're like an afternoon person and you sleep till 10 and then you go. There's nothing wrong with that. It just works better for you as a student. That's okay. So definitely find a schedule that works for you, and don't trick yourself into thinking something that won't work well. If you have to take a class at 8 a.m. because it's the only time it's offered and you need it for your major, that's different. But if you have an option and there's a 9:30 and an 11, take the 11 if you're an afternoon person, or take the 9:30 if you're a morning person. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is number 5. Call home often. So if you have a good relationship with your family and you are kind of struggling with homesickness and, wanting to be home when you first get to college, because college is disorienting and it's hard for some people at first. It was hard for me at first. Call home often. Video chat your family if that's something you have access to on your phone. If you have Netflix, do Netflix parties. Like, there are a lot of different ways that you can interact with your family, interact with people. Text them occasionally, just be like, I'm thinking about you. It really helps. I think it helps curbs homesickness a lot if you talk to your parents. My mom and dad, I talk to them like every other day, and I've been in college for 3.5 years, and I still talk to them very frequently because, you know, it helps get through the day. Sometimes when I'm overwhelmed, I just call my dad and I tell him how I'm overwhelmed, and that works for me. And so I think a lot of people benefit from talking to their family and calling home and dealing, you know, if they're feeling homesick. But it's also just good to talk to your parents and like separate yourself a little bit from school. So, number 6. Okay, this one is only join a couple things that you are interested in. So when you get to college, a lot of colleges, the first like 2 weeks are going to be marketing 100,000 different social things they have on campus. And when I say social thing, like organizations, so like community service groups, clubs, you know, religious affiliation groups. There are going to be a ton of different things out there for you to look at. And you might feel overwhelmed, and you also might feel like, oh, I'm going to join 10 of these. You're not going to stay in all 10 of them if you do end up joining 10 of them. You're going to be overwhelmed for one. They're all going to coincide. Some of them are going to coincide because that's just what happens. So you're not going to be able to attend them. And you have school too. Like you're there to be a student. So, you know, school is going to be coming, you know, sometimes school becomes a little overwhelming with the work and stuff, and you're not going to be able to invest as much time into a bunch of different things. So really what I recommend is going around to these little marketplaces that they have, picking like 3 or 4 different groups that seem kind of interesting to you. Attend at least the first 2 meetings of them. Decide which 2 you like best and stick with those 2. That's probably going to be where you find your friends in college. It's going to be where you dedicate a lot of your free time if that's like something you have. So for instance, like me, I my sophomore year joined the sorority that I'm in. So I'm in Gamma Sigma Sigma, which is a service-based sorority. That's something I'm really passionate about. I'm really passionate about service and community outreach and stuff. I did board game club my freshman year of college. I didn't stay in board game club because I didn't care for board games. But I've invested, you know, my extracurricular time into my sorority, and I've, you know, formed really good friendships, and I've been able to have leadership positions, and I've done a lot of activities that have been things that I like doing, and it's been good, and it's been fun for me. And you want to make sure that these organizations are fun for you and not overwhelming for you. So only join a couple that you feel really deeply connected with, and it'll be a much better and more fulfilling experience. Number 7, do not procrastinate. That is in all caps. Do not procrastinate. What is wonderful about college is at the beginning of the semester, all of your professors are going to have syllabuses that they give you, or syllabi, and they're going to have every assignment that you have due and the date. They should. I'll be very surprised if you get a professor that doesn't, but I've always had a professor who, at least within the first week, given me a syllabus, and I know when everything is due. And that is your surefire way to make sure you do not procrastinate, because you think you're going to have time for these things, and you keep delaying it, it's going to become very overwhelming very fast. And that is something I learned very quickly. I made a mistake once where I had 3 papers due the same day, and I said, oh, okay, I know this in advance. I'm going to make sure I stay on top of it. I did not stay on top of it, and then I had to write 3 papers in a 2-day time span, and it was horrible. And I do not recommend it for anyone. So you need to make sure that you are on top of it, because if you're not, it is going to become daunting very quickly, and it will become hard, and you won't be able to keep up with your work. And you also probably won't be producing the quality of work that you want to be doing, which is sad, because you want to be doing good work, because you're here to study and get that degree. So just make sure you don't procrastinate. And number 8 sort of follows along with this, which is figure out a great organization system for yourself. So everyone has a way that their brain works for organizing things and remembering things. Me personally, I use a planner. I use a physical planner because I think writing things down helps me remember them better. I also have an extension on my computer browser that is called To Do, and I type out to-do lists of things that are due that day. and I check them off. That helps me because I like seeing things checked off. I even also have this thing, which is a this week list, which is where I do things and I check them off on them. So I'm like, I have to do my homework, I have to water my plants, I have to study for the DRE, I have to do my Fulbright scholarship. A lot of different things. That organization system works for me. That might not work for you. You might find that you only need digital sort of organization and that works better for you. And that is okay. It wholly depends on who you are as a person. But find one. That way you can keep track of everything in your life because you're going to be doing a lot of different things because you could have a job that you have to figure out the work hours that you're doing. You have your extracurriculars. You might be on a sports team that you have to maintain the practice, schedule with. You might have, like community service that you have to go out and do for a certain organization or a class. You have assignments that you have to do, social time with your friends. There's going to be a lot of things. And you're going to need to make sure that you're keeping track of them and being organized so they don't overlap. Number 9, you do not have to be friends with everyone you meet in college. You are going to meet people in your first week of college that you hang out for 2 weeks with, and you think they're gonna be your best friend, and then you never speak to them again. And that doesn't mean they're a bad person or anything. That just means y'all have migrated into the groups that you're probably going to be more solidified with. That is okay. The first week I hung out with this one person, I have not spoken to her since. And that's okay. I don't have any bad feelings about her or anything. It's just we have different interests and we chose to do different things in college and it's changed our journey. Anytime I see her, I say hello, but we're not best friends. And that is okay. You're not going to be best friends with everyone you meet. In college, you need to pick people who make you feel good and are going to be a good support system for you. And you can be a good support system for them and are going to give you positive energy and good vibes when you're there. You want to make sure that you're having fun because this is supposed to be a fun time and exploring your life and finding out what you want to do and what things you're interested in, and you want to make sure you have a good friend group doing that. So you do not have to be friends with everyone you meet, and that's okay. Don't think that you have to. And then the last thing that I'm going to tell you, number 10, and this is something that I still mildly struggle with, is learn how to cook basic meals. I cannot cook. That's like a thing that everyone in my life knows. I'm afraid of the stove, but you should know how to cook when you go to college. Just a couple, it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. Knowing how to make spaghetti is fine. Just something that's going to be substantial for yourself. A lot of dorms have community kitchens that you can go use, so you can learn how to make little things with microwaves because most dorms allow microwaves. You can learn how to do little microwave meals, but there will be most likely community ovens that you can use, that you can bake and you can saute and you can fry things on. So if you go on a tour and you at the college that you end up deciding to go to and they have that as an option, maybe learn a couple different foods that you can make, because more likely than not, the dining hall food is not going to be very good and you're going to get tired of it really fast. And also you're probably just going to appreciate having a home-cooked meal because everyone does after a certain amount of time there at school. So I really think that if you know how to cook a couple things, it's going to help you in the long run. Whether that be you're homesick or you're not a fan of what's being served in the dining hall, or, it's just a good life skill to have too, honestly, to be able to cook. I wish I was better at it, but I'm not. Maybe one day. But yeah, I definitely think that's important for college. So those are my top 10 things, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye.